Welcome to the Speak Her podcast with your host, Camille Essick, the podcast where creators and innovators connect. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Camille Essick, host of the Speak Her podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and creators connect. Be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram and YouTube. My information is right here below. We have a great show tonight. I'm super excited for this conversation. I think it's going to be really good. Our goal here is to always encourage and uplift our viewers and also drop some gems. Be sure to follow my brand, Good Black Men, on Instagram and shop now. We also have the newest fragrance from Chemistry Room Fragrances. It's called Island Kiss. It's out right now. People have asked me, like, Cam, what does it smell like? Really, it's like summertime in a bottle. So go ahead and grab that right now. With that being said, we're going to hop right in. The Gusto is in the building, aka Gus, George, D. Moore. Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. So honored, so grateful to be here.
Bro, you know you in the hot seat.
Hey, I'm cool as ice. It's all good.
Yeah. I thought I was going to drive to Atlanta and fight you, man.
Oh, man.
It's all good. We definitely need to shout out my Faith Covenant family. I love these people. They're absolutely amazing. So be sure to like, comment, and share. We're going to hop right in. Those that are not familiar with you, I know you on the musician side, but let the viewers and listeners know who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am George Moore, aka Gusto. I'm excited. A lot of people, it depends on where you know me from. Some people know me as Deacon George. Some people know me for work I do in church and ministry. Some people know me as a musician. Some people know me as a quartet singer. Others know me as a personal trainer. I'm a certified trainer, and I do that professionally. I run gyms. I have clients. I have a wonderful time. I help change lives. That's what I do.
That's good. So that leads to our first topic of conversation: leadership. Leadership, as you mentioned, with your titles, comes in so many roles. Right. So I don't know if to call you Deacon George or George.
Call me George, please.
George. So I don't want, try to be respectful. So George, what do you look at as far as leadership, as far as how it's defined? Because a lot of people feel like leadership is just always being with a title up front, but can you really kind of break down what really leadership looks like and how is that defined from your perspective?
Okay, so from my perspective, I believe as it pertains to leadership, and before I say anything, listen, if you're watching right now and you have not shared, shame on you. Share this show now. Good to see you, Angela. Listen.
Hey.
So leadership for me is very simple. You don't need a title to be a leader. And you don't need a position to be a leader. You can lead from any area, any angle. Leadership is the ability to have a solution for a problem and the willingness to be flexible enough to influence others to follow you. Okay? So it's the ability to be able to say, hey, there's the problem. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to find a way to build influence with the people around me in such a way that we're going to solve that problem together. That's what leadership is. And I don't believe that you need a title to be a leader. I don't believe that you need a position. I've been on teams where someone else was in charge on paper, but I was in charge behind the scenes. So it doesn't matter. Leadership is all about influencing other people to follow you to solve a problem.
That's really good. In the Navy, we call that leading from the rear, meaning although you may have not have been a high-ranking official, but everyone has the opportunity and the ability to lead and influence your community, even if there's a problem that someone else may not have the answer. Although you might not be in charge of that mission, you still have the opportunity to step up and take on that leadership role.
Right.
That's really good. So going into the next thing, as far as with leadership, that also comes with showing up, and showing up can be looked at in so many different ways. So can you kind of touch on the importance of showing up and being present in various environments, whether it's church, the classroom, or even corporate spaces?
Well, I believe that sometimes the battle is not always won by how well you fight. Sometimes the battle is won just by your presence. Mm-hmm. Sometimes being available is one of the greatest keys to victory. Being in the right place at the right time can serve you tremendously. I know that firsthand. I know what it is. I think a lot of times we pray and ask God for favor, and we
Hmm.
pray and ask God to give us things and give us opportunities. But what we don't do is we don't leave our prayer room and search for the things that we ask God for.
Can you kind of
So
unpack that a little bit more?
absolutely. So here it is. I'm praying, Lord, I need opportunities, Jesus. I need make a way for me, Lord. And what we do is we pray, 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 and then we don't expect God to open up the doors that we ask for.
Hmm.
And so we constantly go in these weird circles of like, Lord, when you gonna do it for me? And it's like, I've already done it. You just got to look for it. And so I believe that it's so important to be present. That's the question that you had for me.
Yes.
It's so important to understand the power of just getting in the right environments and being there. And sometimes if you show up, the battle will be won just by you being there. It can be as simple as that. Just showing up. Here's the thing, Camille.
Hmm.
Everything that you've been through leading up to this moment has prepared you for now.
True.
Everything. Everything that you've done, everything that's been done to you, everything that you've experienced, every job that you've had, every opportunity that you failed at, it all has built you for this moment. Like this moment in time is an amalgamation and a combination of everything that you've done to this point.
Hmm.
And so that's why it's important to be present because you're prepared. I think that's the thing that most people have to understand. You are more prepared than you recognize. Oh man, I'm talking good already.
You really are. As you were saying, I started thinking about people that I call it emotional bookmarking, and I define that as those that allow things from their past to keep them in that space and time, that chapter of life, whether it was an event or a trauma, a
Sure.
disappointment or something, and they're emotionally locked into that point.
Right.
Yet they're not able to move forward from that space, and that's why I call it. It's not a intellectual educational term. It's just something I came up with. I call it emotional bookmarking, and that's how I define it. And I always say that your past does not dictate your future. It
Right.
only is a point of reference. And what you said, as far as our experiences, are just a culmination for things to prepare us for the next chapter. However,
Right.
I don't feel like we should always let those valleys define the rest of our lives and the journey as we go forward to the mountain experience.
Facts. I believe that.
Was really good. So in that space, what do you feel like has probably been one of your biggest hurdles up until now? Because you just had a birthday not too
Yeah.
long ago. and and I know usually when birthdays come around, we kind of reflect. So what
Right.
do you feel like may have been one of your biggest hurdles? And then how did you overcome that?
Okay. So first things first. The Gusto just turned 30. And I told myself, I said, in my 30s, I'm gonna fool around and get fined for real. I was decent looking in my 20s, but my 30s is gonna be divine. That's what I decided. I decided to myself,
FOD, flesh on display. I was waiting on it. I knew it.
flesh on display.
Flesh
Well, I
on
mean,
display, sir.
hey, so somebody had to do it. I'm just saying.
I think you need to add a fast day to your week, son.
I need to add a fast day to my week. Listen, if confidence is a cause to fast, then I need to fast every day because I got
I'm
plenty
just
of it.
only jokes. I totally
Listen,
understand.
so like I was saying,
Yes.
Camille, um, so I hit 30, and I think I had a lot of anxiety leading up to it. I mean,
Mhm,
I had a lot of anxiety because
mhm.
all I could think about was all the things that I didn't accomplish in my 20s.
Right.
And I think this is so huge because I'm talking to everybody who's listening right now. I don't care how old you are. If you're 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85.
Mhm.
What I'm talking about applies to you. We all have some form of age anxiety, which says to ourselves, I don't know if I'm ready, and I don't know if I have accomplished as much as I should have accomplished to this point. And I think that's dangerous. And I think for me, my biggest hurdle was the feeling of I missed out.
Mm.
I felt like when I hit 30, I felt like I missed out on a lot of stuff. Um, I know a lot of people who accomplished a lot of things in their 20s, and that just it just tortured me. And then I got to a point where I said, you know what? I'm just gonna relax. Because this is
Mhm.
what happened. I recognized that I didn't accomplish a lot of things that I thought I wanted to accomplish, But watch this. I developed in character.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I developed in character. And what that means is this. Sometimes God will allow you to go through years of character development to get you to a certain point in time
Mm-hmm.
to where once you get to that point, all the years of character development just catches up at one time. And that's a powerful moment. And so I overcame that hurdle of anxiety by recognizing, you know what? I did accomplish something. I learned a lot. I developed mentally. I developed emotionally. I learned how to heal. I learned how to forgive myself. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so now I'm excited because I'm like, uh-oh, it's only up from here.
Yeah, I think that's good. Even with the forgiveness, that
Mhm.
goes back into the emotional bookmarking because we can be hung up on things that we did, like, I dropped the ball at this point in time, or we always focus on our shortcomings, but not
Right.
looking at the wins. I always say we need to get the receipts on our life, and I
That's right.
personally do that on a regular basis. I have a prayer journal, and there are times where I feel like, well, man, I have, like you said, I haven't done X, Y, Z, or I missed out on certain things. I
Right.
definitely understand the whole ageism things. Like my
Mhm.
birthday will be next month, and next month I'll be 44,
What you
and
say?
I'll be 44 next month.
44. I'm telling you, this.
Black don't crack and beige don't age. Okay, and so out of my friends, I am probably one of my friends that has not either been married and or had kids, and
Mhm.
so I had to get to a space where I was like, you know what, Cam, focus on you, do life, excel, go back to school, whatever you wanted to do. And
Right.
although I went to college, did corporate America, I joined the military at 32 because I
Wow.
wanted to hit the reset button. So I joined the Navy,
Wow.
became a paralegal for JAG. I did all that, did deployments and everything, and finished my degree. And then August of 21, I got my master's degree in communication. But during that time, I didn't realize the building blocks God was giving me. I knew I needed something else. I could not put my finger on it, but
Mhm.
I knew I needed something else for myself. So I stepped away from everything I knew to give myself that opportunity and to take a risk. And it paid off. Not knowing that now, looking back on everything, how God was using that to strengthen me and allow me to find my voice. And
Right.
now the things what we call those voices that I won't call it an echo, but they kind of
Mhm.
whisper in your ear to say, hey, you missed this or that or whatever. But like you said, it's also a building block to build you to now. And now here I am back in the civilian life, and
Right.
everything that I learned in the military, I'm very structured. I'm a stickler for time, if you haven't figured that out.
Yeah.
And those little quirks about me, but not realizing how this is going to play into my future as far
Right.
as where God is taking me, as far as having the focus, having the structure, having the discipline, time management, respecting the time of others. And I think those things are key. But at the same time, it's taught me to be more observant. So for someone like me telling you, like, hey, I'm 30, I went through that. Oh my God, I'm 30. I panicking. You have the right attitude because at 30, I went into a whole panic. But looking back on it now, life was just beginning. And so
Right.
I say that to anyone listening, don't worry about the clock or the time, or I'm at 30 or I'm 35 or what, or if you're 50, as long
Or
as you're
60
breathing,
or 70.
or 70. I feel
Hey,
like as long as my grandmother says or used to say, Lord rest her soul, as long as you have breath in your body, you still have time.
that's right.
So and you spoke on something as well in terms of confidence, George.
Mhm.
Um, so I started a brand called Good Black Men. And the reason why I started it was based on a conversation I had with a friend of mine offline. And he was saying how Black women have so many spaces to express themselves as far as a beauty shop and social media and these girl boss brunches and all these things. But what about the brothers? So I created this brand for a space for our Black men. And in that, I started to hear conversations about confidence, self esteem, mental health,
Right.
affirmations. So, what do you say as far as the importance of affirming our young Black boys as early as possible?
Man, I think it's the most important thing in the world, honestly. I think a child's confidence is really framed when they're really little. And it's so important that children experience some level of winning at a really early age
Mhm.
because it shows, it builds the confidence to excel later. I would rather a child be cocky and overconfident than be underconfident and too humble. I mean that too. Like, it's better if you take a child that believes in themselves, and I remember I was a kid and I had a friend, and he said he has an uncle who's a famous singer, and his uncle can sing really, really good. And he was like, I can run real fast and I can sing like my uncle. And I was like, man, shut up. You don't run that fast and you can't sing like your uncle. But dude believed it. Fast forward 20 years, that joker can kind of sing like his uncle. Like, the boy is cold. Like, that confidence at an early age, it blossomed into something beautiful. And the truth is that my mother?
Oh, wait a minute. Time out. Hold that thought. Okay. Hey, Dr. Moore. Thank you for joining me. Oh my gosh. First lady is here. Okay.
Just threw me off of my whole thought.
Right.
Like I was saying, when a young child, a young boy in particular, has confidence, is so important. So I believe it's important. I think about my parents. It's funny. My mom just got on. When I was little, they never called me bad. They told me I was misbehaving. When I made a bad decision, they would say, "You're too smart for that." They were very intentional about how they conditioned my mind, even in rebuke, to say things that showed I'm better than this. They would say things like, "George, you can't eat like that at this table because one day you're going to eat with kings. You're going to eat with presidents. You're royalty, And so I think it's very important to start when children are small and really do everything you can to build that confidence. I think it's very important.
That's really good. So in the confidence journey, what is probably the most important thing that sticks out to you now, looking back on young George then?
Okay, so confidence is subconsciously taught. So you don't just teach you don't tell someone to be confident. You teach them through their behavior. So for example, my parents, particularly my mother, she would tell me as a child, she'd say, "George, stand up tall, like stand up straight, stand all the way up." Like, my father would tell me, he'd say, "George, when you use your hands for gestures, use your hands in an open way." He say, "Don't have little raccoon hands. Like, use those hands." Like, they taught me the principles of confidence. And what happens is, if you act confident, pretty soon it will seep into your mind and you will think confident. Behaviors, even, you have a military background. There were certain things that you had to do with repetition that you didn't automatically care about, you didn't always like, but you did it so much that it became a part of you. And so I believe that's the same thing with confidence. I was taught as a small child, hey, when you speak up. Lift your head up, look people in the eyes. Look, when you talk to people, look at them in their eyes, speak up. When you shake people's hands with a firm grip. These were the building blocks of confidence that I didn't know were the building blocks of confidence until I got older. And I began to find myself in environments where I was in a work environment recently. And I was talking to my big corporate boss. She's like the regional director of the entire state and also of other regions around the country.
Right.
And she was talking to me and she was like, "George, I think you could do this." I was like, "I don't know." She said, "Well, George, it's something about your confidence." She said, "You approach everything with a certain confidence. I think you can do it." And the funny thing is, it was really instilled as a child through, like I said, the building blocks of confidence. It has nothing to do with just telling someone they're wonderful. It's about making them do things that reflect confidence and strength and power. And before you know it, that's how you think.
No, that's very true. One thing I will say about the Navy, it was culture shock for me, being third generation apostolic and being thrust into this military atmosphere, because before I joined the military, no one in my family was in the military. It was church people. So going in, I was told, oh, you can't do it. You're too feminine. You're too soft. You won't make it. I heard everything telling me that I couldn't do it. And coming from the background that I came from as a child, I was very introverted, very quiet, very soft spoken. The military forced me to speak up. It forced me to be assertive, because if not, it's a male dominant industry. I would have been ran over. In the first year or so, there were, a couple of bumps, and I learned very quickly, starting with boot camp, Essick, speak up. I can't hear you. Or having someone literally in your face. And as safe as we want to be in my flesh, I'm like, I know they're not in my face like this, but you can't do anything. And so you have to figure out how to maneuver in conversations. And they do teach you about posture, hand gestures, and things like that. So I can totally understand, but not knowing, going back to those building blocks, being in the military, how it shapes me now as far as podcasting. 2 years ago, you couldn't get me to talk. I would post on social media, but I wasn't going to speak. But here I am. But I think we are like packages, right? Our packaging is different. But I think when God puts in us, he puts all these little things, and we have to take that top off that lid, and we have to pull out that tissue paper, and we have to pull out that bubble wrap. And the more we begin to dig inside, God has a lot of goodies inside of us, but we have to be willing to explore the packaging.
Absolutely. I agree.
That's really good. So as we begin to wrap up, Deacon George, do you have any other like gems, nuggets, or what? The bishop is here. Okay.
Is that my dad? What's up, Dad?
Hey, thanks for tuning in, Bishop Moore. We really appreciate you. And congratulations again on your installation.
Hey.
So with that being said, George, I almost called you Deacon George. So with that being said, George, were there any like jewels, nuggets, or takeaways that you wanted to leave with the viewers and listeners, and also where people can contact you on social media? Just because I'm not trying to rush this conversation, but I'm trying to watch the game tonight. I'm just going to confess and be honest. I want to watch the game tonight.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Listen.
So with that being said, did you have any jewels or nuggets or takeaways that you wanted to leave before we wrap things up, and possibly to even do a part 2 of this conversation?
Absolutely. The thing I want to take away or leave with you is get your money. And I'm going to explain what I mean when I say that. Get your money. The other night, I was supposed to be in the gym because I have things that I'm working on. I have some goals that I'm really shooting for. I'm really about to unlock some stuff in my brand that's going to really shake up some people. And every time I go to the gym, I call that getting my money, because every time I go, I'm building myself in a way that is going to impact my future, not just how I look, not just how I feel, but it's going to impact my business. And I was so mad at myself because my favorite team was playing that night, and I set out from going to the gym so I could be home in time for the game. And what ended up happening was my team ended up losing the game. So not only did I not go to the gym, but my team lost. I lost twice.
Oh, so you were in your feelings.
I lost twice. And one of the things I want to say is that always have the discipline to do the things that you need to do for your future. If there's something that you need to do to build you up for where you're trying to go, do it, and don't sacrifice it for nothing or nobody. Get your money. Do what you got to do and make it count. Give it the gusto. That's my thing. That's my word for the season. Whatever you do, give it the gusto. Go hard. Make it happen for real. That's all I got to say.
That's really good. Well, with that being said, I really appreciate you for joining me here. And where can people connect with you on social media?
Follow me on Instagram right now at George D. Moore. I almost said $ George D. Moore because my Cash App and my Instagram.
No. The only people that should be getting cashed out right now is me. I got the sponsorship to take care of. So
you got that right.
No,
yeah, Cash App.
You cannot plug your bag here tonight. I'm sorry.
I'm not plugging my bag. I just caught myself. But follow me on Instagram at George D. Moore. It's going to be incredible. I promise you, I got a lot of good stuff coming up.
Okay, when you do come back and we can promote it.
Okay, I can dig it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Hang tight. So, everybody, this is your girl, Camille Essick. I am host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast for innovators and creators connect. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Camille.Essick. Hit that notification bell and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Camille Essick Official. And with that being said, be blessed. Good night. And we are wrapping up the month of May. So next week, Dr. Sheldon McAfee returns. The week after that, Faith Covenant is in the building once again. The one and only Malika Holloway. She will be stopping by May 25th and wrapping up on June the 1st. It'll be Coach Ev. That's right. Evan Brown. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about another person. Evan Brown will be here. So thank you all. And special shout out to Bishop and Dr. Moore. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm beyond humble right now. So that means a lot. Yeah. You guys be blessed. I'll see you next week at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 Central Time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Speak Her Podcast. Be sure to follow Camille on Instagram at Camille.Essick, Facebook at the Speak Her Podcast, or www.camilleessick.com.